I deleted my game. Okay, now that may sound a little wild, but it is actually true. This devlog was supposed to release over 4 months ago, but I hit a slight bump in the road. When I was moving files from my old computer to my new PC, I accidentally overwrote my current game with a much older version. Due to the Unity scene being one file, my entire game got overwritten, and I lost all my progress. And thus, that half-finished devlog never released. On the other hand, now I can tell you the entire story. Let's start all the way back in March of 2022, right before the mistake. I had just gotten some basic parallax to work with my art, but I didn't have any camera constraints yet, leading to the camera showing unwanted parts of the level. Additionally, the dark, desaturated color palette was starting to annoy me, so I decided to do away with it, instead favoring a much brighter orange and yellow. I accomplished this through Unity's built-in 2D light system. With this system, I can move lights around and change their color, and it just so happened that bright orange lights made the scene much more interesting. To test a longer scroll, I created a new section to go to the left of the current level in Photoshop. This worked well, so then I moved onto my camera constraints. Just couldn't bear to see all those ugly edges of the level any longer. I accomplished this by adding a few if statements into my camera script. But there was an issue. I thought my game still looked bad. I didn't really like the colors, and it just looked generally bland. And that was where I discovered post-processing. So, I enabled 3 effects: bloom, color grading, and vignette. I was shocked at how atmospheric and realistic the lighting now felt. I began to add more level, as I was really liking how it looked. I couldn't believe I'd finally gotten the game to look good, after hating how it looked for over a year. And then, disaster. All my progress, gone. Reduced to atoms, some might say. This threw me off development on the game for at least a month or 2. I did my best to recode and redraw what I could, based off screenshots and recordings I had of my game. I didn't start making real progress again until right before my first stream on YouTube, titled Drawing a Forgotten Wizard Castle. I started sketching with an entirely different style, but certain aspects of my art were clinging on to my previous style and preventing me from coloring buildings effectively. After those streams finished, I took a little bit of a sidetrack with my development. An online friend on Discord alerted me that perhaps levels should not be drawn in one piece, and should instead be drawn as individual separate pieces, such as a tuft of grass, a bush, or a tree trunk. This sounded reasonable to me, but I couldn't picture how to make it work with my current style. So, instead of trying to make it work, I decided it would be a great idea to start over. I created a sort of fluffy cloud landscape that was very easy to make from pieces. I could make the towers, arches, and main clouds all separate, and it took almost no work to merge them together. Now, while this technique worked extremely well in capturing a large amount of clouds, I found it didn't really fit my art style, or the mood of my game. And thus, I moved into the next game development block. But here is where it gets interesting. I discovered a Discord bot that would generate images from text prompts, titled Midjourney. As it turns out, this is an excellent idea generator for me. The results of certain prompts have given me more ideas than any other process that I've ever attempted. In the space of nearly 3 days, I constructed 4 separate biomes with a similar art style. I was never able to get separate biomes to look cohesive, so this was a bit of a breakthrough for me. One of the biomes was constructed using my city sketch from several months prior. I created it just by shading in between the lines and leaving the sketch in the finished drawing. I liked the resulting effects so much that I decided to import it into Unity and start working again on the mechanics. I quickly split the art into layers in Photoshop and added it into the parallax using my template I coded in Unity. I decided to make the smoke even cooler by making it dynamic, which took a while to get looking right, but I think was totally worth it. I also added a front layer of smoke to make the smoke particle systems blend into the sky better. The biggest feature that I was able to add recently was a basic working dialogue system. I created a text element with some default font, which I could control through a script. I decided to tie each individual line to the actual arrow prompt game object. That way, I could test the distance from that point, along with seeing the dialogue locations in the editor. Now, by tapping X while near the arrow, the dialogue will fade in. I hope in the future to make this dialogue based off of a TXT file that I can edit, but I haven't quite figured that out yet, so I went for the next best thing. I have a public text input in the script, so I can specify the lines. The code chooses how to display the lines based on if the text is on a new line or not. You might have also noticed the city section was extended to the right from what it used to be in the old screenshots. And this is because I colored in the rest of my old sketch. Before, I just added the sketch to a 16:9 canvas to test it out in Photoshop. And now, for the potentially most interesting section, building interiors. These are far harder to draw, but I've opted for a zoomed in and slightly larger scale than the exterior. I'm taking a little bit of stylistic liberty by making the interiors larger than the exteriors, but I like how it looks. Who cares about Euclidean geometry, right? In any case though, I need the interiors to be larger since I want to show most of the information within the houses, such as a picture frame on the wall or a spilled vase of flowers. We'll learn the specifics of that in time, though. As for the future, I can't place a date on the next devlog just yet. I think I'll want to post it when I make a significant amount of progress, rather than just documenting every step as I go. So, if you do want to follow this game, just check back every few months for another update on my untitled and currently mysterious game. That's all for now, but if you do want to watch more of my videos, try picking one on screen now.